Good evening. The government has been warned that it's getting it wrong by withdrawing financial support for onshore wind farms and that the decision will ultimately cost consumers more money. Plans for 4 wind farms in our area have been scrapped in the last month. Now researchers say the government should continue to subsidise wind farms like these with money. But that suggestion has met with anger from campaigners who say that they're a blight on the countryside. Here's our environment correspondent Paul Murphy.
This is Lincolnshire's latest wind farm, but could it be its last? Cuts in subsidies and changes in planning policy mean the onshore wind industry is in danger of being snuffed out. The think tank The Policy Exchange believes the government needs to give it more of a chance.
What we want to see is for the government to continue to allow onshore wind at a declining rate of subsidy in the future for projects that are located, suitably located where there is community support.
At least 4 major wind farms in our area, including plans for huge machines at Nocton Fen, have been scrapped in recent months as government support has waned.
The industry says that as these machines become more efficient, they will require little or no government subsidy. But that efficiency could mean that onshore turbines become much bigger. And for local communities, that could cause a problem in some cases.
I think the important point here is we need to see how this is going to play out. Until we see what the new subsidy regime is and how the wind energy industry respond to that, it's still open season.
No, the government's position on onshore wind is absolutely correct. They've just been elected into government with that policy in place. The report today from the Policy Exchange is a very sorry piece of work, actually. They should know better. They've fallen hook, line and sinker for the wind industry lobbying, which has grown fat on public subsidy money.
But turbines have also benefited communities. Here at Sancton in East Yorkshire, they were given a new village hall. So was it all worth it?
We've all been, as electricity consumers and taxpayers, we've all paid into a fund, haven't we? So it's only our own money that's going back into a village hall.
We'd all rather have fewer wind turbines, but I don't think we're doing our bit. The annoying thing was when they wanted to put another 12 there, which now they've turned down, which is great news for us, but I think we've done our bit.
Today's report is unlikely to alter the government's position. They've told us we are driving forward our commitment to end new onshore wind subsidies and give local communities the final say over any new wind farms. Onshore wind is an important part of our energy mix, and we now have enough subsidised projects in the pipeline to meet our renewable energy commitments. The industry is continuing to argue that government cuts to subsidies are premature and short-sighted. But in many communities in our area, few tears will be shed if even more of these projects are scrapped. Paul Murphy, BBC Look North.
Well, on this one, I spoke to Richard Howard from Policy Exchange, who we just saw briefly there in Paul's report. I asked him why he believes that subsidies for onshore wind farms should continue.
So we've done a report which has been published today, which is all about the future of onshore wind. And we think it does have a role going forward in meeting the UK's energy needs. Onshore wind already powers something like 8 million homes around the UK, providing around 6% of our electricity. And we think there's potential for this to grow. But the one thing I would say is in our report we've shown that the cost of onshore wind can come down in the future. And for that reason, we think that the government should progressively remove subsidies for onshore wind.
Who funded and supported this report?
So we're an independent think tank. And
was there any involvement from wind farm developers?
Yeah, 2 of the leading wind farm developers were involved in supporting the study, but we also spoke to
if they were supporting the study, turkeys don't vote for Christmas. This report can't be taken seriously and can't be taken as not biased, can it?
The report is actually quite hard-hitting in terms of what the future holds for onshore wind. I would say that we consulted really widely as part of this study with a range of people, including
Yeah, but you hear what I'm saying. It can't be taken as not biased if it's being backed by 2 onshore wind developers.
The whole report is based on evidence that we received from a wide range of sources.
Yeah, but you're not getting my point. You're backed by 2 onshore wind developers, so it can't be not biased, can it?
Well, no, it can be biased. I've written the report myself, and the supporters haven't had any influence on what we've said. We've actually been pretty tough on the industry and saying you need to step up to the plate and reduce costs.
You're telling the government to carry on giving subsidies, which is what the onshore wind farm developers would say.
I don't agree with that. We've actually said that the government should progressively remove subsidies, and we think that the mature developers can actually reduce their cost, and the government should be reducing subsidies for onshore wind, and some of the developers will be able to cope in that new environment, and that is what we see as the only sustainable path for onshore wind in the future.
The government are giving power to local communities on this one. Many local communities don't want more onshore wind farms. Do you think that there should be more or less, or have we got it right?
I think that onshore wind farms should be brought forward where they are appropriately sited and where there is community backing. I don't think they should be built everywhere, and if there's strong community opposition, then that's absolutely right. That,
and final question, on the subject of subsidies, have the government got it wrong?
We think it would be a mistake to end onshore wind altogether, and we've set out a path for how they can proceed with onshore wind in a sustainable basis.
Mr. Howard, very good to talk to you tonight. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.